don't think I was that nice about it, but I have told people to buzz off.
I don't just want you to buzz off. I've got a device to make you.
Oh man.
What are we at? Where are we at?
533 oaths. Or in the CSB, it is tell the truth.
What's in the y'all version?
I don't know. I can't look at my phone.
Y'all quit lying.
Y'all quit lying. Quit lying.
I was about to say, I can't look at my phone to tell you. My phone's a little preoccupied at the moment.
Real quick, another TikTok I saw. I forgot about this one. So this dude, strange cat, wearing shorts and tennis shoes. No shirt, just shorts, tatted up. But let me tell you something, boy. That dude knows his Bible and knows it well. And he's into old Bibles. And so he just got his hands on a 1912 Bible. I mean, that sucker's got to be that big. But it's got all this extra stuff in it. And tells about the canon process, tells some of the history of that. And I got watching his videos because, not to take us down that rabbit hole, but he was talking about Enoch, and that kind of got a curiosity about that myself. So he was talking about that, and he was showing in that Bible that even though it was basically a King James Bible, it had the Apocrypha still in it in 1912. So,
Well, then chances are that was an Anglican or a Catholic Bible.
I was going to say, it's probably a Catholic Bible, but it was really cool looking Bible with all the stuff he was flipping through it, and I don't remember everything that was in it, but there were several things that I know we would have all said, "Ooh, hang on, I want to read that." Yeah. And him and his buddy in the next video were trying to set up this big tabletop looking, looked like it projected out like the old projectors used to, and they were trying to figure out how to scan it. They were going to PDF it and then upload it. I'm like, save. I want to know when you got that done, Jack, because I'll be downloading it.
All right. Y'all ready?
Sure. Let's kick this chicken.
We will get it going. All right, everybody. Welcome back to the area. I guess, as always, if you like what we have to say, please like, share, and most importantly, subscribe so we can get this spread as far as we can.
And we'll throw up the QR code for the Venmo.
Yeah. I don't know how to add that.
Oh, I can help you with that one. We'll just use mine.
And you'll just share the well?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll let you know when something comes in.
Okay. All right. So, as you can tell, we are trying out some new equipment. We played with this last week for almost 2 hours. It actually didn't take as long as I had planned for it to. Got some new toys to give us real mics, and we don't have to use those lapel mics. But, it takes up a lot of space on the desk. We need to, drill some more holes or something in the desk, and so the lines can all just
cleaner.
Well, we'll figure out a way to hang them from the ceiling, bring them down where they're hanging in front of us.
Actually, I guess we could get mic stands and, have boom mics in front of us.
See, we did that on the first couple there at the end, and it looked awful. Just flat out awful.
That's what we need to do. We need to get somebody in here to be the videographer, and they can pan around and get this
close ups.
Well, I found that Final Cut or something for the iPad that I could connect my phone to the iPad and get two different angles in the recording. I played with that at home multiple times, and if it's in there, I can't edit it. I can't send it to my computer to edit. It's all trapped right there, and you have to watch it side by side on the iPad. Yeah, so there has to be a way, but it was $5 a month, so I just canceled my subscription, and I can always go back and do it again if I can figure out how to play with it. But for right now, you get one view and this is it.
Get one angle.
Get some good side anyway.
I don't think I have a good side, so you get what you get. So this is going to be, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, episode 5, I guess, of our discussion into the Sermon on the Mount. Last week we went through anger, lust, and divorce, which I think actually turned out to be a really good record and in recording. Ron, he shared a lot about his experience as a child, and it gave a new perspective, at least to me, about that kind of stuff. But today we are moving on. We are going to be covering chapter 5, verses 33 through 42. We are going to be talking about oaths and retaliation. At least that is the titles of the sections in the ESV. In the CSB, if that's just because that's the second one I've got out, it is tell the truth and go the second mile. I was hoping Shane would look up what the y'all version said, but
over
It just says quit lying.
yeah,
this is y'all quit lying.
Y'all quit lying.
yeah.
Just sit down and shut up.
Pretty simple.
So we are moving through, a couple of sections at a time to get through this. Next week, I believe we will enter into chapter 6. But as for right now, we will get going. I will start off. We are in oaths, and did you find it?
What? The y'all?
Yeah.
Again, y'all have heard. It is to the ancients.
Okay, we will. One podcast, we will have to use the y'all version the whole way through.
Okay.
I'll figure out which one, but we will prepare everything in the y'all version just to
So
make it fun.
3 y'alls in it. But let y'alls yes be yes and y'alls no be no.
That works.
Make the Yankees' heads explode everywhere.
Oh, man. Okay. So we are starting in verse 33 with oaths, and it says, and again, this is Christ still teaching to the masses. Or would he be teaching or preaching? I think this is more of a preaching thing, I would have to guess.
A little bit of both.
But it says, again, you have heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not swear falsely, but shall perform to the Lord what you have sworn. But I say to you, do not take an oath at all, either by heaven, for it is the throne of God, or by earth, for it is the footstool, or by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great King. And do not take an oath by your own head, for you cannot make one hair white or black. Let what you say be simply yes or no. Anything more than this comes from evil. You didn't turn your hair white, though.
Yeah, that's true. But
I had some help.
my wife did tell me today, though, that she said, man, you're just getting white. And she meant this and up here too. But anyway.
So,
Yeah.
so I'm curious now that you brought that up. If you were to let all this grow in, would you just have that Santa Claus
I
full
think it would
beard?
be. Yeah, I think it would be.
Well, you should let it grow this year and just see where you're at come Christmas time. I mean, you're still pretty early, so I think you could get some fullness to it.
I do too. In fact, I used to wear it that way, but then I cut it off to this. But nobody in my family's seen me since 1975 without a mustache or a beard. So I don't know if my kids would recognize me.
He's going to walk into Sunday school one day and sit down, and we're gonna go.
We're gonna go.
So who's the new teacher?
And Julie has threatened me about it.
Let me think about it. No.
Okay, we'll get back on track. So the one thing I began to think on this was the do not take any oaths at all. So I was reading a couple of different sub notes on the stud G5 bills I have, and it says that Jesus has taught that swearing oaths was wrong, since oaths call for the destruction of an object or person if the oath is broken, is what one of these little stud denotes is. And, I grew up as a kid. I swear on this, swear on that. I'm sure I'm not right.
Stick a needle in my eye.
Right.
Not me.
I've had my eyeballs scratched, and if that feels anything like a needle, I'll pass. But, he is being real specific in his 3 examples. Either by heaven, or by earth, or by Jerusalem. And then his 4th one is, do not take an oath by your own head. That's alleviating anything. Because we're fallible. We're going to break oaths. We talked about that last week with divorces. A divorce is a breaking not just of an oath, but as of a covenant. And going through the statistics I looked up real quick is very prominent. For y'all to, the average divorce rate is still about 50% for the U.S. as a whole. So it hasn't really changed much since whatever it was the last time I looked 10, 15 years ago. But me and Ron, they got going. And the divorce rate for first responders is 60 to 80%. So at best, 2 out of every 3 typically end in divorce. So that was a pretty eye-opening thing. But do not swear falsely, but you shall perform to the Lord what you have sworn. That's still in at the first of it in 33. So I guess my question I have to start this off is there any oaths outside of a covenant of marriage that we take in today's culture, in today's time? If you stand on a court bench and you say, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. I mean, that's
Are you looking for black and white, or what some may consider gray? Because you sign a contract for your mortgage, that's you're basically taking an oath promising that you'll pay back all
what
the money
you
that they
did.
lent you.
Right.
You know, and I think for the most part, I think what Jesus was saying to me is, and I know I've done it a billion times in my life, kind of said I swear in a non-committal way, you know, using it as a to make the situation seem more
Palatable.
than it was. Yeah.
Or you say, I promise. I promise.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was in court last week, as in the jury pool, and I took 3 of them.
Mhm.
So you raise your hand and you say, I will do this. It's a pretty serious thing.
Yeah, because you could be held for perjury.
Yes.
In a court.
Yeah.
So that just popped into my head, and I'm going to play that. Well, it's my religion card, just to be the devil's advocate here. We're told right here by Christ Himself to not take an oath on heaven, on earth, and by earth or by Jerusalem. So if you're in a jury selection or you're summoned to court or subpoenaed, would it be legitimate to say, I'm told by Christ in Matthew 5, verse 30?
Because
I mean, it's
going. They're asking, do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And Jesus said, let your yes be yes,
and your no be no.
So if you answer yes, then
in Scripture,
by your religion,
Yeah.
you better not color outside the lines, because you just said you're
right. Okay.
And Scriptures are also says, and governments are instituted among men.
Mm-hmm.
You know, God puts those things in place.
Right. He puts them in place.
In place, yes.
For us. No, I don't know that I would try that with a judge.
I wasn't saying I was going to.
For listeners out there, we're not.
No. I am not
suggesting to
condoning
do that.
any kind of behavior here or circumstance. It just popped into my head, because you have people who will go, well, that's against my religion and I can't do this or that. Or in the military, up until our recent secretary, I guess, of war now, he did away with all these religious rights to grow your beards and this and that taken the military back to what it was prior to all that being accepted in to, what the military was. And so like I said, it just popped into my head. I was curious at how well that might not work out in your favor.
Yeah. I don't know that personally I would try that. I guess if somebody does, leave a comment as to how it worked out. We're not supplying the bail money. So
no.
Yeah, so just know yon.
Well, and know too that even in my youth, handshakes were a commitment.
Mm-hmm.
You did that,
mm-hmm.
and you were bound to.
That was
to
more
do
serious than your word.
Yeah,
so,
that's the way I was raised. You shake a man's hand, you better hold to it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. So this is the 4th time he started out with "you've heard."
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, you have anger, lust, divorce, and oaths.
Right. We got a couple more.
Yeah.
Still to go.
Yeah.
We got one that we're going to do today.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So why is he there again? My question is why is he doing this? Right. So why is he using these as examples? Why is he using anger? Why is he using divorce? Why is he using lust? Why is he using oaths? And then retribution, at the end. Why is he doing that? Why is he
Because these
picking?
were religious laws that the Sanhedrin and the Pharisees held to. This was their how you were judged, whether you were good or not. Do you abide by these and do you uphold these?
Right.
That's
So,
all their focus was.
so there again, I make a big production out of, I'm going to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So I'm going to do what I said I did. Buy everything. Okay, well, you're just making a big production. Stop it. Right? Just say yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to do something? Yes. Are you going to do something? No.
Right.
We ain't got to go through a big production to get to yes and no. We ain't got to act like these people. You don't have to act like these people. These people are fake, phony. They don't know what they're doing.
Well, when that goes back to, when all the Pharisees and the onlookers and brought, the adult and the adulterous woman to the feet of Christ and said, "Well, what what do you say? She's committed adultery, blah 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 blah." Immediately, my first question was, "Where's the guy?"
Where'd it do that?
This is a two-part thing. The last time I checked, that's a two-part thing. But he goes in. But I agree. It's these are the things that they really tried to trap him on too, and throughout his time was with these questions. The question of adultery. It's gone.
Lust, anger.
Yeah, lust. He goes into the temple. He fashions a whip. He's flipping tables. He's angry. And 3 days after that, he's nailed to a tree. They really did a good job at bringing their rules, not the laws, but their rules to his feet, and he's addressing them before it even gets started.
Right. So there again, I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to take tradition, right,
Out of it.
Right.
Okay.
So there again, what did we get? What section did we get right before we got the you've heards? Right.
Let's see.
I
Trying
can't.
to fulfill the law.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and then we get into the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6
There's
sections of you heard.
right, we got some you heards that are coming up. Right now, what does he end it with? Right. So he says we don't need this big production. We don't need all of this stuff. You should be swearing by God anyways, because you can't. That's kind of uncool anyways. And the earth, that's his footstool.
Mm-hmm.
You don't control the earth. Why are you doing that anyways? You're just making big to do. You're making something out of nothing. And just be yes and no. Just be honest with one another. Be what you're supposed to be to other people. And that's yes is yes and no is no.
Mm-hmm.
So now, I don't know, am I going to burn in hell? Because when I was a kid, I said, cross my heart and hope to die, stick a needle in my eye, or whatever it was, that rhymed with all of that stuff. I don't know. I don't think I am. But why do we need all of that stuff? Just be yeses and nos. Just be honest with one another. Be truthful with one another.
That's. I think into today's culture that as a whole, how can we be honest with each other if we can't be honest with ourselves? Everything we see and look at on any social media media platform or the news or TV shows, it's doctored, it's edited, it's got filters, it's you don't know what's true and what's not. I mean,
Is it AI?
I mean, is it AI now? I mean, it's that.
Yeah, I was watching what was it? It was a commercial, I believe. And at the bottom of it, it said images are AI produced. And I was going, interesting.
Skynet. We need Sarah Connors soon.
I'm telling everybody, we dancing awful close to somebody kept me up at night as an adult.
And does anyone have Sarah Connors on speed dial? I'm just saying.
No, I don't. But Arnold Schwarzenegger start running around, I'm gonna go hide somewhere.
I think he's a little too old to be running a lot these days.
All I know is it was Arnold Schwarzenegger looking people that were running around shooting people.
Yeah. Good or bad.
Yeah.
That's who it was.
You shouldn't have planted that idea in my head, Hollywood. Shouldn't have done it. But yeah,
It's hard. I really think it's hard to be truthful with others when we don't even know what's true to us.
Well, that's
Or honest with and coming with ourselves.
well, truth is an important thing. Christ Himself said He was the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the article was there, so it isn't a truth; it's the truth. So that means that there is the truth, and I believe that rests in God. So
the hardest part for me in when I read this the first time was, oh crud, you mean I can't just be a good person in everybody else's eyes and you're going to fall for it too?
Right.
Because he's basically telling you, when you get into some of the next stuff you're headed towards, but even the stuff he's already told you basically is he's talking about each person's heart, soul, that, you go out and you tell somebody, I swear, and deep inside, if you don't have, intentions on keeping it, I'll do my best to keep it, but, I'm going to use this and sound blusterous or however you want to say it as, that I swear making a big deal out of it when deep inside in your heart, it's 50-50 whether I'm actually going to do this or not, and some of the other stuff he goes into as well, you lust after somebody in your head, you've committed adultery.
Yeah,
and you sit there and you think, I'm a good person. I've never committed adultery, but you go to those bars and you stare and, basically, well, yeah, you have. You're the same as the guy that actually did the deed. So it just kind of makes it, I think he's talking to you about, keeping your heart true and pure and your thoughts as well.
And I think we got into that some last week too, because looking here at my CESB, it's not lust or anger. It is murder begins in the heart, and adultery begins in the heart, and is the way they're tied. So I think it's more specific based in the CSB version as far as the title goes. I mean, it's murder begins with, adultery begins with, and it's the heart. I mean,
he even says, you call your brother a fool, you chance damnation, and it's like, okay, well, call people worse than that, especially on the highways.
Yeah. Well, verse 37 ends right? It says, let your yeses be yes and your noes be no, right? And then it says anything more than this comes from evil. Now, there's a note there that, or from the evil one. So, I don't know if you have that note, but I have that note, so I don't know if it's a note that I wrote in my book or
U version has it already in there.
Okay.
That's just one of their notes.
right. So
Yeah,
I
it
don't.
says so. I got the note right here that it's off to the side. It says, "Or the evil one." Yeah.
Yeah, ESV says the evil one.
So, anyways, I have a note here that says that. So there again, I have a feeling that it has something to do with attitude and heart, right? It has to do with the way that you're going about and why you're going about doing these things. Simply yes, simply no. Don't need a big production.
And I think it also, though, links to this idea of circumcision of the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Your heart going from stone to flesh, and you don't tell lies in whatever you promise to do or say you're going to do, you will do, because your relationship is right with God. You want to honor Him, and you're going to do this. Whether it's the work world or just between us,
Yeah.
You need to be able to trust me. I'm saying I'm going to do this. I'm going to be here. I'm going to do whatever that that I will. And it's always been very important to me to be trusted. In my career work, it was just very much so. You better be truthful. So, but it was just personal integrity. I saw that in my parents. I saw that in people that were my mentors, and when they said it, you knew that's what they were going to do.
That's the way it was going to happen.
Looking you in the eye, and this is what's going to happen. So, so I tie it back to that circumcision of the heart, and hearts of flesh instead of hearts of stone. Their lies just fall off their lips now, and it's just not. It's nothing. In fact, it's an expectation to take somebody down a false path or to lead them in a false direction to get what you want. It's a form of selfishness. It's a form of greed, I think, even in some cases, where we do this because I want to get something. So it leads off into all kinds of different, for me also, it leads off into all different kinds of other possible sinful things when we do that. And then it's that there's all these axioms from youth, about the more you lie, it's harder to keep track of your lies. You just tell the truth, and everything will be better.
So on the evil one, this one has a note which I find interesting. It says swearing against God or his belongings, which takes us back to heaven, earth, Jerusalem, or our heads, aligns us with the evil one who attempted to assume God's position as ruler of the universe. So that takes us back to the fall of Satan and his pride. So, I mean, I don't want to be aligned with that.
Nope, that's not an alignment I want. I would say I was out of line.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, we will move on into retaliation, or go the second mile. Verse 38, it says, "You have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say to you, do not resist the one who is evil. But if anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to him the other also. And if anyone would sue you and take your tunic, let them have your cloak as well. And if anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with them 2 miles. Give to the one who begs from you, and do not refuse the one who would borrow from you." Yeah, don't don't retaliate.
So
I
do
think
you
that
think
one's-
Jesus means that if somebody was beating the fire out of you?
No, because so. Hold on, I've already read more notes. It says the words "do not resist an evil doer," which is what it is in the CSB, is not indicated. However, what we should, however, that we should not seek justice or defend ourselves when threatened with serious bodily harm. So we are allowed to defend ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
but it also says that a slap on the right cheek, which is very specific here, was a backhanded slap. So it would typically cause more damage than an open face slap, because you do have the knuckles and all that, and that do make contact. And it says this act in Jewish law imposed a fine that was double the one of an open palm blow to the left cheek. Thus, we see that Jesus urged his disciples not to seek vengeance when against the most offensive kind of blow.
Right. So it's trying to stay away from Hatfields and McCoys. Right. So
That was over pigs, wasn't it? Sorry.
So, well, but there again, I mean, I brought that up because most people know the history of that, right? So, if somebody does something to you, your first instinct shouldn't be
Retaliation.
right. That shouldn't be what your first instinct is. Now, there again, I agree with Shane that this isn't somebody trying to do violence to me, and I'm supposed to, just stand there and let them, stab me to death. That's not what this says.
Mm-hmm.
It says if you feel wronged, whether you am or ain't, your first reaction shouldn't be, "Well, I'm gonna get back at you," right? So, and there again, what he's saying is somebody slaps you, which is supposed to be an insult.
Mm-hmm.
That's an insult. Well, you just let him slap the other cheek. Why should that bother you, right? So move on. Somebody's suing you. Now, I like the word here. My Bible says tunic, but really what we're talking about is long johns.
Right.
Right. This is underwear. So if somebody's suing you and going to take your underwear, give them all your clothes, is what it's saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. So give them everything. Why does that matter to you? God's going to provide for you, right?
Let's see. Okay, it says frivolous lawsuits were rare in the first century is Israel. And so the suit described here was probably a legitimate one that the plaintiff was likely to win, or generally defendants are upset if the judgment goes against them. But Jesus commands his disciples to seek reconciliation with them and their opponents by going above and beyond the legal requirements in order to make amends. Jewish law permitted an opponent to sue for possession of an offender's inner garment, the shirt. Typically, it was a sleeve tunic that extended to the ankles and was made of wool or linen. These could be valuable and were frequently used for bartering or making payments. So that's an important piece of clothing. I
Put
mean,
the shirt off your back.
yeah, I mean, pretty much. It's
Well, I think too in this regard, Jesus is also pointing at a bigger picture, and Israel is they're God's chosen people, and come apart, be separate, be different, and as I look back down this and just review it very quickly, that's what to me, that's a part of what he's asking them to do. Be different, so you will be identified with me, with Jesus, and that there is something different about you, and possibly giving you a platform from which you can speak to people and share the gospel. There needs to be something different about Christians. And we've all had somebody in our lives that we know, that we can think of right now that, there's this person that really displayed Christ-like qualities for me. And this is the person that I think of.
Right.
Truthful, or whatever. I just think it's Jesus is speaking to a very deeper level for his people.
Right. He's fighting the tradition. Well, let me. I don't think that Jesus was a rebel without a clue, right? So he wasn't fighting tradition just to be fighting tradition. He was fighting tradition because the tradition was leading people away from God and God's purpose and plan for them. So I think Christ is trying to come back to dead center on these things by giving examples. You've heard. Okay. I mean, he's even telling you that the mile go to Roman law is a Roman soldier could come up to you and tell you to carry your gear, and you were committed. You had to do it. Well, Christ is saying, well, even if somebody that you don't like these cats, come up and ask you to do something, we'll go the extra mile. Take them 2 miles. Show them that you're not going to be bothered by this. Right? Yeah, I don't care. Yeah, I'll take you back 2 miles. How about that?
How about that?
Yeah, how about that? I'll take them 2 miles. Well, you don't know. Maybe that's somebody that at the mile when you drop the bag, now you interrupted somebody else who really has an important thing to do. Well, take it 2 miles.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Let the guy who's going to pick it up at the mile marker, go do something else. Well, yeah, I think that he was trying to fight the mindset. And there again, I mean, what he ends with is even, what he what he what he ends with is telling us how to pray, right? So we don't need all of these big productions and things like this. Here's what you need to do, right? Here's a simplified version of what you need to be, how you need to be thinking about this. So it's all coming to a conclusion, right? That there again, my heart needs to be right, my head needs to be right. I need to be thinking about the things that I need to be thinking about, and doing the things that I need to be doing.
And lined up with my actions, yes.
Right. So, yeah. And I always thought it was funny once I found out that the tunic there was, kind of the long johns. Well, okay, he's saying, yeah, somebody wants to take your britches, give them to them.
Wash them out first. That's
Yeah.
right.
And I think a
Yeah.
lot of this, everybody's
You have to.
got to everybody's got to keep in mind when they're reading the Bible, they need to put themselves in that time, because I think a lot of this has to do with the mindset of that time, and not to just totally trash our generation, but back then people didn't, like you said, frivolous lawsuits weren't a thing.
And there's a
Going
lawsuit now for
around
everything.
slandering people just because you wanted to wasn't really a thing. And
Mhm.
the last sentence or the last paragraph in here says, "Give to the one who begs from you, and do not refuse the one who would borrow from
Right.
you." Well, Jesus didn't know my neighbors back that I've got now, so he wouldn't have said that if he did, because he knows I'd never see it again. But I think that you've got to keep in mind that a lot of this stuff he's not talking to. I know that turn the other cheek has been used wrong so many times, and that was my point of making the joke about what if somebody's beating the fire out of you.
Right.
That's obviously not what he meant. And borrowing to, they always like to use the feed the needy, feed the people that are begging, and back then you go to a city, there may be one or two that need the help, not 30% of the population that just doesn't want to work.
Right.
And I forget where in the Bible it says it, but I think it was Peter that said, you don't work, you don't get your bread, to summarize it. But I think that people were different and things were different back then. So you've got to take it in that, not just read it and go, oh, it says I've got to, if anybody wants to borrow anything from me, just come get it, and I'll never see it again. And I think it means have an open heart and help others where we can. I think that's the point of his.
Again, it's a heart condition. Right?
Yeah.
If you can help somebody out, well, just like Johnny was talking about on the sermon this morning, help somebody out. That's the right thing to do.
You don't do it to make yourself look good, or
Right.
you do it because you know it's supposed to be done.
Right.
Yeah, that's
And
what
there
Jesus
again,
said. Don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing.
well, that's the next one. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So go, hey, look what I did.
Right.
Hey, did everybody see what I did?
Right. But there again, I mean, I don't think Jesus meant for you to stick your left hand in your pocket while you was handing somebody money with your right? I don't think that he meant that.
No.
What he meant is that shouldn't be the important thing about what you're doing, right? It shouldn't be about you. It ought to be about why you're doing it, right? And if it's for the glory of God, then that's the right thing to do. If you're helping somebody that needs help, that is the right thing to do. If somebody needs to borrow something from you, the expectation of this is that they're going to do the right thing as well.
Right.
That they're going to return the thing that they borrowed, right? And even if they didn't, well, give them the shovel too with the rake, right? So give them a lawnmower and a gallon of gas.
Yeah. which reminds me that I
Oh,
still
did I borrow it?
No, I still have some
That
Tupperware
would have been
from
awesome.
Kirk Daigle.
Yeah.
I needed to return to him. I got to get that back next Sunday.
I would have made. I've been done for the rest of the year. If you'd said, Scott, you need to return my weed eater. It would have been the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
That
Speaking
reminds
of,
me.
I gotta return something.
But
Oh,
but
God.
but there again, I think that all of this stuff is Jesus pointing out that it's about attitude and it's about the why you're doing this, right? We shouldn't be frivolous in the things that we do. We ought to be compassionate. We ought to not want as soon as somebody does something that we think is an insult, our first reaction to that shouldn't be, well, I'm gonna go cut off his ear, right? Or I'm gonna go, beat him up. That shouldn't be our first reaction. And there again, I mean, this talks about another section that we just talked about, anger, right? Okay, well, if I'm hurt at somebody, well, I've already committed murder. Right now, I don't think that Jesus was saying, "Well, go on ahead and kill him,"
Right. No.
Right?
I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what he meant.
Just because you thought about it, now you can go on ahead. And
I
do
looked
it.
hard. I couldn't find where he said double jeopardy.
Yeah.
So
Right. So, anyways, I mean, I think it's, the next one, the next section that we're going to talk about next week, where, you should love your neighbors, right? So, there again, I think that all of this is hard. All of this is getting. Let's come back to dead center, people. We're kind of way off. We're way off on the fringes now, and we've got too many rules and regulations that we don't really need. Think about it. Let's think about what we're doing. Go on and do it. There again, I think the story of the Good Samaritan is a good story.
Oh yeah.
We shouldn't be, oh, there's somebody that's hurt, I'm gonna walk on the other side of the street. I'm gonna walk all the way around. I'm gonna walk 2 miles out of my way just so I don't see that. No, we ought to go up there and, hey, can we help? Now we may not be able to do anything, but I think that we should at least pause and find out what the deal is.
Right.
Oh, I can't help you, but you know what? I know a guy. Okay, well, let's get you fixed up. Let's get you on the way where you were going.
And
don't take this dangerous road.
I think of John. John, he had a good point this morning too, and because we look at the Pharisee that goes by, we look at who's the second person and the Levite that goes by, and then the Samaritan actually stops. Well, John, I liked, he actually took it and turned it around a little bit too, and was the Pharisee, did he have somewhere to be that he was already late for? So we in our lives, are we becoming too busy to make time or be able to stop and help?
Right.
Now was that the intention of the Pharisee? I don't know. I wasn't there.
Right.
But
Jesus
but
used both
looking
the
at
Pharisee and the Levite in
a negative way, right?
Right.
But he made a point. Are we too busy to see these things?
Right.
Do we need to take a step back and reassess a few things?
Right. And
So
I would agree that that's a good point to make as an aside to that story. Are we too busy? Is the reason why we don't see these things is not because we're we don't care, but we're too busy with things that we shouldn't be busy with, right? We'll binge watch something on Netflix, when, well, we could be reading the Bible.
Right.
Or we could be working, working someplace to help other people.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I get that as an aside, and it's a great message. But yeah, I just like this particular section of the Sermon on the Mount, because there again, I think that Jesus is going, you almost had it. You almost had it, but you didn't. And let's come back this way. Right? Let's swing the pendulum back to where the pendulum should be.
Well. I mean, I've heard
And it shouldn't be a pendulum; it ought to be a plumb line.
Said too that even if you get off by 1 degree within a mile, you're way off the mark.
Right.
So you have to know where you're at. And as you said, Shane, everything looking back into it, I mean, even going back to the Beatitudes, it starts with the heart.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
it all starts with the heart. So, well, we're gonna wrap this one up, boys. Under time.
How do we do that? I blame it on the new equipment.
Yeah. Talk faster.
So, well, guys, I appreciate y'all being here again. I always enjoy this time with y'all. I know it takes some of y'all away from your families and things you have to do, like getting ready to wake up at 3 o'clock and drive 4 hours.
4
Oh, you wake up at 4?
4.
Okay. I thought you woke up at 3 and left.
I try not to.
So, but I mean, this is a time we do take away from our families and our homes, and I do appreciate y'all for doing that. I know it's hard, and there's days it's hard for me. So, but thank y'all, and to on the air, y'all, biggest group out there. I thank them and y'all for coming along this ride. I know it's not the best and smoothest ride, but we are doing our best to go forward. So until next time, we will see y'all next week.